Welcome everyone to the fifth episode of Startup Journey. We talk to entrepreneurs and try to know what drives them and understand what inspires them. Today, I'm really excited to have with me our guest today, and his name is Mark Metry. Let me tell you a brief about Mark. Mark is the host of iTunes Top Charts podcast, Humans 2.0. Mark's show features innovative and talented guests in every episode, and his shows are available on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, and iHeartRadio. Prior to creating Humans 2.0 podcast, Mark was the founder and creative director of PPMC. Started in 2013, the number one Pixelmon Minecraft server in the world. As a creative director, Mark grew the company's website to reach over 10,000 registered premium members. Currently, Mark is the founder and director of VU Dream. He started it in December 2016, and VU Dream is basically a growing and innovative virtual and augmented reality marketing and advertising agency. They are based out in Boston. VU Dream works with dozens of startups, studios, other VR, AR businesses to help customers imagine new future realities. Mark has been covered in various media houses. Huffington Post has mentioned about his limits don't exist mindset. He's a very active writer on Quora and one of the top writers of 2018. He has been marketing online for for 9 years, since the age 12. And let me give you the biggest surprise. He's just 21 years old. Mark, over to you. Please tell us about yourself, a bit different from what I have told you, and just introduce yourself.
Sheesh, thanks a lot for having me on. Really appreciate it. So I say maybe the main way that I could answer that question is on my podcast, the first question that I ask all of my guests is, how do you spend your time here on planet Earth? Because I think that's the most important thing. People can put up, things on LinkedIn, say they're the founder, CEO, but at the end of the day, it just matters what you do with the 24 hours that's given to you. So I would really describe myself as I'm a human being that spends his time on planet Earth in a meta theme, just trying to be in a state of understanding. I try to understand things, whether it's from a technological perspective, like virtual reality, whether it's from an entrepreneurship perspective, whether it's from, interviewing hundreds of incredibly successful entrepreneurs, some of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time. And that's really what I'd say. I try to spend my time in a state of understanding, and based on what I've learned, I try to teach that with those that need that kind of help.
Great. That's very encouraging. Mark, tell us about the first company that you started, PPMC. How did you start it off? What was the reason behind that? Were there not jobs available for you at the time? Why did you start doing your own stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question, Ashish. So just as background, so my parents originally from Egypt. They moved to the United States a year before I was born. My dad came here with like $200. So we were kind of growing up. I didn't have a lot of money, obviously, but I was always very kind of entrepreneurial minded. I was always trying to, collect different Pokemon and baseball cards, trying to sell them to other people, just that kind of person. I got my first legit job at my dad's pizza store, sweeping floors. I did that for a summer. I saved enough money to buy an iPhone, and then I just started freelancing on the internet from my iPhone, and then I bought a laptop. And then I'd say kind of the main official kind of grand slam that I kind of hit was when I was 15 years old. I was playing this video game called Minecraft on my computer. I joined a couple multiplayer servers where a lot of people can play together at the same time. And I realized that, the server that I joined and the other 3 servers that I joined, they all suck. They were all horrible. They all lagged. And, 15 years old at the time, I was pretty bored. I was pretty young and naive. I'm like, hey, I could probably do this better. So really like Google search after Google search, I kind of stumbled my way into this Minecraft server. I did it for straight up pure fun. I was not intending to make any money. Within 3 months, the server was already making thousands of dollars. And within 9 months, it was already a 6-figure business, all from really just playing one of my favorite games. Ended up growing that out, had a virtual team of over 40 people, made hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of people joined our server. And that's the first thing that I kind of stumbled into at the age of 15.
You talked about starting off very decently, like you started off, like you started doing freelancing and then you earned a bit of money, bought your laptop. Tell us about that phase, because that is the toughest phase for any entrepreneur. How did you got your first client, or were you learning? Are you a technical guy? Were you coding? What were you doing as a freelancer?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So what I did was so at that time the year was I think this was like a 2011, 2010. And really the whole freelance economy wasn't really that established as it is today. Like now we have Upwork, Fiverr, Link, like hundreds. People do it all the time. Back then it was like nobody knew what it was. People of course contracted different companies, but nobody really knew what it was. At first, what I did was I started designing websites. I started developing websites. I kind of, I liked coding. I wasn't like a hardcore programmer, nothing with Java or anything, just some really simple stuff with HTML. But from there, I registered on freelancer.net, and I got a few clients. I didn't do it for that often. It was just kind of the thing that I did for fun. But really, I'd say the main motivator, the main desire was just me actually working, realizing that I didn't want to, sweep floors for the rest of my life, and kind of thinking outside the box, kind of saying, what are my other options in life? And once I kind of found that path, it was just kind of like, okay, what do I need to do to get there, right? A lot of people, I think, they kind of see that, and for some people, they just don't want to put in the effort or work. They think it's never going to work out. For me, I was just kind of a young, naive, almost dumb person for even kind of trying and putting that stuff forward and kind of being, kind of blind to the business side. And I think that's actually what helped me succeed and push forward and take action in a way that I don't see a lot of people doing.
And that's wonderful. Okay, then you started your company about the server stuff, and which grew, and then you were having a lot of clients, I believe. So okay, you had that takeoff, right? You took off while you were a freelancer, and you learned the trick or the strategies to adopt, maybe to get new client or attract potential clients. I think that must have helped you in other businesses as well, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean,
Please go ahead and
yeah, I mean, I was
tell
just
us
gonna
about
say,
that.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like the business that I run right now, ViewDream, it's a growth agency for virtual and augmented reality businesses. Originally, when I started it, we were doing something different, but what ended up happening was, we kind of had a marketing program in the background, and we hired an agency. We paid them a few $1,000s, and we didn't see any results. So from that point on, I kind of saw another entry point in the market, specifically with virtual reality and augmented reality. This is a new industry that's being born, and the marketing and the advertising for it is different than the traditional. And so the market for it isn't that well established. So it's kind of like doing the same thing, seeing the same opportunity where people need help based on my skill set. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so you have built a niche for yourself, like people know you for your expertise, I believe. Okay, Mark, this is not easy, of course. Running your own company, making it profitable, building business after business. Tell us an instance or share a story with us where you felt like giving up, or you felt like, okay, this is not happening at all. So what thought process you applied and came over it?
Yeah, for sure. So let me say this. So despite me starting a business at 15 and being financially successful, it was almost it was very accidental. I kind of stumbled into this. I was not thinking in my mind like, oh, I'm gonna work and I'm gonna like work really hard. I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm gonna be a business like that. That didn't even exist in my head. It was just kind of playing with my friends, trying to help people. And the money, I honestly didn't even think about it because I was very young at the time. So despite me being financially successful on the outside, internally speaking, I was not successful. If anything, I was very depressed, very anxious. I was I didn't have a lot of friends, plenty of insecurities, doubts. And that's not necessarily the greatest model to being an entrepreneur, because being an entrepreneur, the best way that I'd kind of describe that is, I was talking to Jason Pfeiffer, the editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur magazine, and the way that he defines entrepreneur is somebody who finds a way when it seems like there is no way, when there is no path that's kind of established for you. It's not like going to medical school and becoming a doctor. You kind of have to improvise, stumble, move your way on. So to answer your question, I kind of had that throughout my entire life, which is why I've been able to beat it. But the main thing that I would say to people that made me kind of aware, the kind of process that I used, was the first thing is I had to realize that my life is just an exact reflection of all the decisions and the choices that I've made. So if that's right, then I need to take 100% responsibility. So many people blame external factors for their own stuff. Like, hey, the reason why I don't have a job is because the economy sucks right now. The reason why I don't have a job is because I didn't go to college. The reason why I don't have that. If you do that, you're never going to be an entrepreneur. You're never going to be successful. You need to take responsibility. The second thing is you need to take action. A lot of people think that if they're stuck on a problem, or if they want to start a project, they've got to think of this grand idea, this big dream that they need to do. And for some people, that definitely works. But, Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, he has this quote, and it's, entrepreneurs, they build the plane while they're falling down in the middle of the air. So it's kind of like you need to take action just consistently over and over and over again, even if it doesn't necessarily feel like it's right. And then only 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you'll be able to look back and you'll be able to connect those dots. So I would say the three main things is taking responsibility, kind of almost blaming yourself on everything, taking responsibility, taking action. And then the third one is kind of like the second one, but it's just find a way. And when you kind of put yourself in those three kind of steps, it doesn't matter if, the government hates you or your mom hates you or whatever, you just do it. And that's how you really accomplish things. The people that win in life aren't those who sit around and think and pontificate. They're the ones that just do things despite their feelings and emotions and thoughts.
Oh, very well said, Mark.
Thanks.
There are so many people who inspire us or who are always around us, whose mindset has an impact on us. Tell us about such people around your life who has inspired you, or mentors you follow, or books you have read which has given you the energy and strength to pursue this track.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'd say the three biggest mentors, people that I've surrounded myself with. role models I look up to: my mom, my dad, and my sister. Looking back at my life, they really paved the entire way for how I think, how I deal with people. They're obviously, just like all parents, they're not perfect. And then that's where I think you kind of step outside the family and friend zone, if you're fortunate enough to have been born in an amazing family, where you kind of got to seek the help of outside mentors. So for me, a big person, I'll list some people, and if there's anybody that speaks out to you, I can kind of talk about it. Steve Jobs, Gary Vaynerchuk, Tim Ferriss. Some of the books that I've read that really changed the course of my life are Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Surprisingly enough, 4-Hour Chef by Tim Ferriss. And the last one that I would say is another Gary Vaynerchuk book, the first one that he wrote. That's what I would say my main mentors are. And, we're living in a day and age where anybody can be a mentor to anybody. It doesn't have to be a relationship. People can read books. People can, listen to podcasts. People can do that and really take advantage of the time that we're living in right now.
Very true, very true. Mark, you came from a very simple background, as you told us. You have made your own mark, you have made your own identity, your own brand, out of sheer hard work, out of trying, and you're trying harder than others, and by perseverance, right? There are so many people who are going through that struggle in life, which you may or may not have gone through, but they don't have any hope. They are like depressed. They don't, their boss is torturing them. They don't have money. They are coming, they were not born with a silver spoon, and they don't see any hope. Talk us about, tell something to those people. Is it like there's no shortage of opportunity, right? In today's world. So keep that, just talk about.
Yeah, for sure. So again, I don't want to sound like a broken mic, but I really do think a lot of people have kind of this victim mentality. And I think a lot of that sources the lack of hope. So like, again, just as like a kind of, a lot of it's about taking responsibility. So what I would say to those people is, I think you need to stop thinking about yourself and you need to step outside your situation. And what I mean by that is, it's kind of like this, right? So my parents came from Egypt, right? Let's say we lived, let's rewind 500 years ago, or let's rewind 1,000 years ago to when, humans were living. First off, I'd probably still be in Egypt, right? No way I'd be in America because airplanes weren't invented. And then what else, right? A bunch of diseases. You got the Black Plague. You've got kingdoms invading other countries. You've got millions of people dying around. Hold on. I don't even know. 500 and 1,000 years ago. Let's just rewind 100 years ago. Let's look at the 20th century with Germany and the entire world being at war. When I started to understand this perspective, Ashish, and I started to understand the concept of building a compelling future for myself, and I kind of got to this point where, okay, we have technology. It's enabling us in ways that we've never been able to do before. How crazy is it if I don't take advantage of this opportunity right now because my grandparents couldn't? Not even my parents could have, right? They couldn't have started a podcast. They couldn't have, gone on their phones and started a business or anything like that. So it's really nothing like that, man. So for me, what it's really about is kind of understanding that compelling future. And to me, that gives me a lot of opportunity. The other thing that I would say is a lot of people are not grateful for their life. Unfortunately me, when I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars when I was 16, I wasn't grateful at all. And I think that was a big reason why I was depressed. And once you start living from You kind of step away from the victim mentality. You kind of step away from blaming everything on everyone else. You get in this other mode where you're unbelievably grateful, and you start to go on the offense of life. You begin to understand how to dodge life's punches, and you understand the method to the madness, so to speak, and you're grateful for it. And even if bad things are happening around you, not just from a business perspective, but a health, a family perspective, the things that really matter, you can still persevere and kind of push those. So for the people that don't have hope, go volunteer at a homeless shelter. Go volunteer at an elderly home where you see 80-year-old people that can't even get up. It's like, that's what I would say to people.
And if somebody wants to be rich, if Mark can do it, they can also.
Dude, I love that, man. That's my favorite motto.
Right. So great. Mark, how do people reach out to you if they want to have any suggestion or just want to talk to you?
Yeah, cool. So I'm basically on every social media network. I'm mostly on LinkedIn and Instagram. And you can just search for my name, Mark Metry, MarkMetry. Check out my website, markmetry.com.
Great. Thank you, Mark, for sparing time talking about your journey, startup journey. You are truly an inspiration for so many people. You should often talk about it. I think instead of asking others, you are an inspiration, I believe. Keep doing what you are doing and make an impact, positive impact on the world. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Ashish. And you're part of the game, man. You're helping spread this information. You're impacting people too. So same right back at you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.